question number 18 of the ID passport exam from PhilNITS. In this question, we are being asked which of the following is the order of execution of the programs. The programs here that we're talking about have three categories. First is the BIOS, the basic input-output system, and then the operating system, the OS, and then the resident application programs. So we gotta know how to order them in the correct sequence. Okay, the way to answer this is, I think you at least should have some kind of experience with installing the operating system, and from there you would have this question very quickly answered. I think the question isn't really supposed to be too difficult. I think I can classify this as one of the easy ones because I've been using several types of operating systems: Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and also I've even tried out the BST, another type of operating system. And of course, if you're trying out operating systems, you gotta have a computer that you can format and delete the files so that you can install a new one. And then once you install a new one, of course you'd want to have the programs, the applications that you'd normally use. And so from there you would have encountered these categories. Now for the basic input-output system, if you've destroyed or deleted the operating system so you can install a new one, it's likely that if you boot it up without any operating system at all, you'll end up with the BIOS. Of course, in certain computers, you would still need to press the delete button or the F12 or something like that to get into the BIOS window. But in general, you'd have to get into the BIOS first so that you know that the settings, for example, the parts that you've installed or put into your motherboard are there, like the hard disk that you'll need to use to install a new operating system, and also the processors that you may be using, and that includes also the graphics cards if you put any of the graphic cards there. But I usually use the BIOS for, I think, arranging the boot sequence. So I want to know if my USB pen drive would be loaded up, or would the computer immediately enter the pre-installed operating system, because at times I needed to know if the problem with the current installation is because something broke, and I need to see if I can still use the computer using another operating system, maybe one of those Ubuntu, a lightweight version of the Ubuntu Linux operating system that you can install on a pen drive, and you can boot it up and then see if the computer in general is still working apart from the storage. So at times I do that. And of course, if you're maybe having problems with the time, because there are times when the date timestamp isn't correct anymore, then you have to go into the BIOS and tweak it a little bit, particularly because of the battery too, the CMOS battery that may have been used up and you need to replace it, and so the time there won't be the correct one and you need to change it a little bit. So some of the stuff that you can also encounter when you install a new operating system yourself using a computer that maybe you can reformat and play around with. Okay, so in this case, after having said all that, the correct answer is letter A, because the sequence is first you go into the BIOS and then the operating system, Windows, Linux, or whatever operating you want, and then the rest of the application programs that you use after you've installed the operating system. And it can be a browser, it can be maybe a game that you play on Windows or something like that. Okay, so the correct answer for this number is letter A. Let's see what other notes may have, and see if we can add anything else. Okay, so pretty much what I've just explained would be here, order of execution, the execution order. Okay. All right, so this question is answered.